Morning everybody, how are y'all doing today? I'm doing great because I just moved into college, so if the microphone sounds a little different, that's probably why. And on top of that, there's actually something new to talk about for once. Yippee! Unfortunately, it's not exactly my first choice for a topic, but I mean, I gotta take what I'm given, you know? So basically, I'm sure most of you have heard about this by now. But there's this new game coming out very soon. It's called Black Myth Wukong. And it comes out in 3 days. But as usual, critics got to play it early and post their reviews early. Well, on the PC version at least. For some reason, they're blocking reviews for the PS5 version, which is very concerning. So honestly, if you're on PS5, I would hold off on buying the game. One of the biggest criticisms of the PC version is that it doesn't perform too well, and given that it's using Unreal Engine 5, I'd imagine this game is gonna perform pretty poorly on console. I mean, I'm actually trying to think of a single Unreal Engine 5 game that runs well on console outside of like Fortnite. If anybody can think of one, please let me know, but I genuinely can't. Either way, the reviews are out early, and Screen Rant was one of the outlets that got a code for this game early. And their review seems pretty decent for the most part, except for one thing. Look at the cons section and then look at the middle note. Lacking in inclusivity and diversity. Now, even if you don't know anything about the game whatsoever, I think we can all agree this is an absolutely idiotic reason to dock points from a game. In what way does a game having diversity make it better? Does having a more diverse cast of characters make the game more fun somehow? The answer is no. If you want to have a diverse cast of characters, great. As long as it's not just there to pander or check off boxes or whatever, fine, go for it. But to sit here and dock points from a game because you don't think it's inclusive enough, it's just pathetic. And actually, I was talking to my mom about this earlier. She even said it was kind of ignorant. And like I said, it's already dumb. Even without knowing anything about the game, complaining about lack of diversity is dumb, right? But it only gets worse when you realize this game is based off of a 16th century Chinese novel. And what's more, most of the characters and enemies in this game are anthropomorphic animals. That's the word, right? Whatever, they're animals with human-like characteristics. So like tigers, monkeys, etc. Hell, you as the main character play as a monkey, which honestly, that alone might convince me to get the game as long as the performance isn't absolute garbage, which unfortunately it might be. Because honestly, I like monkeys a lot, especially that monkey in that one meme that was driving the golf cart around. Now, I can't play the audio on the video because it's copyrighted. Look at him, he's just driving to the banana store. In fact, if you want to see the original video, that's what it's called. So good. But whatever, monkeys aside, I want to take a look at Screen Rant's review of this, specifically the diversity and inclusion section, because apparently it's an absolute goldmine. So let's go ahead and take a look. Also, minor spoiler warning, this review does mention like one boss. It doesn't seem to be very important, but I mean, still, warning is there just in case. While my analysis and review of Black Myth Wukong remain focused on gameplay, it's important to mention the controversy surrounding the game's studio and the reports of misogyny and sexism from developers. Playing as a female gamer allowed me to notice issues surrounding inclusion and representation. So already, here we go. We need inclusion and representation in a game based off a 1500s book in China, which primarily involves animals. Now, I don't know anything about the sexism from the developers. Were they actually sexist at some point? Maybe. If they were, I absolutely don't support that. But given that this is the type of person to complain about diversity in a fantasy video game, something tells me that the quote-unquote sexism she's talking about just means there's not enough female employees at the company or something. Again, could be wrong, let me know. But I'm gonna take everything this person says with a grain of salt. Anyway, continuing on. As far as chapters 1 and 2, while characters are clearly fictitious and fantastical creatures, there were no female or feminine NPCs, enemies, or bosses present. The only exception, if you can call it female, is a boss named Mother of Stones in Chapter 2, which is nothing more than a still glowing rock with no abilities and being guarded by other enemies. Hey, don't you refer to her as a rock. She can be whatever she wants to be. I'm sorry, anyway. But I'm not gonna sit here and make the whole argument of, oh, why does it matter? Even though it really doesn't. I just like to point out the fact that, again, this is based on a book from the 1500s. If you know anything about history, you would know that in the 1500s, women were treated much differently and looked at much differently than they are today. Now, I've never read the book that this game is based off of, but I have to imagine there probably weren't many female characters, and if there were any, they probably were only there so their husbands could tell them to do stuff. I know it sounds awful, but that's just what those times were like. This isn't some Ghost of Tsushima situation where it's a brand new story, so they can add a female character as your sidekick who's like a great assassin or whatever. And honestly, I am glad and I applaud them for keeping the game historically accurate. There's no need to modernize old stories. If you're gonna tell the story, tell it how it was told originally. And again, I doubt a book from the 1500s had any prominent female characters, so I really don't see a problem with the absence of female characters in the game. Like, imagine if I wanted to make a game about the American Revolutionary War, and then somebody complained that there weren't enough female soldiers. It's just completely idiotic, and you're just complaining for the sake of complaining. And putting all that aside, why are the genders of the characters so important to you? Like you said so yourself, your review has mostly remained focused on gameplay. That's all it should be. A game review should critique the bugs, how the game plays, how it performs, maybe immersion levels depending on the game, but this DEI stuff should never ever be brought up. Hell, I think I saw this somewhere. Didn't the devs even try to prohibit people from talking about like politics and feminism and stuff like that? Oh, you know what? I just checked again. It was for content creators, but probably not for reviewers. God, if only those guidelines were in place for reviewers. Can we just stop worrying about all this crap and just worry about if the game is good or not? God, this is annoying. All right, let's keep going. The lack of diversity and inclusivity resonates with the misogynistic comments reported to have been made by the developers, which expressed disdain for women playing their games. Although Black Myth Wukong does have truly enjoyable moments, the underlying feeling that women aren't welcome in the world felt present throughout my gameplay experience. Well, okay, so if the developers don't like women playing their games, then, I mean, that's, you know, it's kind of yucky. But that shouldn't make your experience any less enjoyable. Like the devs saying, oh, we prefer men playing our games or whatever. That shouldn't make the game less fun or anything. It's a classic case of separating the art from the artist, which I understand not everybody can do, but I wish more people could do it. For example, I don't have a problem with gay people, but damn it, I love me some Chick-fil-A nuggets. Maybe not the best example, but you get the point. Alright, continuing on. It's worth noting that the game is based on the novel Journey to the West, which does consist of a few important female characters. To not include any women, or to only include a few in an adaptation meant for a modern audience is quite disconcerting. Okay, so she claims that Journey to the West does in fact have some important female characters. Based on my research, it does seem there are some female characters, and hell, maybe even some important ones. However, I'd like to point out that they're all villains. Like, I'm looking at this Wikipedia article right here, and I know, ew, Wikipedia. If you're a teacher, be sure to get on my case about that. But I'm looking at the Wikipedia page, there are no female main characters, and there are some female antagonists, but something tells me if the only female characters in the game were antagonists, the writer of this article would not be too happy with that. Also, scrolling through, there are so many antagonists. Holy mother of God. There's no shot they were fitting all of this into one game. Now, I would like to actually mention something. According to the Wikipedia, there is in fact a town in the book, which is only populated by women and it's run by a woman as well. Now, this could have been put in the game, but then I'd have to wonder, wouldn't that be sexist, only having a town of women? I mean, come on, this is for a modern audience. Why can't men live in the town as well? You see what I mean? This argument is idiotic. And who knows, I'm probably sexist for even saying that. I don't know, man. Let's just continue. While this doesn't take away from the exhilaration and fun of the boss fights themselves, women fans of Souls-likes may have a different perspective, especially given that, according to reports, the developer also suggested that women are incapable of enjoying or being skilled at these types of games. Again, if the developer said that, that sucks. But you really shouldn't let it bother you too much. Are you really gonna let what some guy on the internet said bother you that much? Also, no, this is not a Souls-like. I may not have played it, but I know it's not a Souls-like. The only similarity is that it's third person and it's got a boss health bar on the bottom of the screen. In fact, I'm pretty sure the devs are even on record saying it's not Souls-like, it's action adventure. And I love that she admits right there that this doesn't even take away from the fun of boss fights. If the lack of female characters doesn't take away from the fun of the game, then what is the problem? A game is supposed to be fun. As long as it's fun, who gives a damn how diverse it is? I don't think anybody was ever playing Team Fortress 2 and then said, you know what, this game is fun, but God, it's so so misogynistic. An all-male cast? How could Valve do this? I know I've said it a bunch, but it's so dumb. It makes my brain hurt. All I ask, dear viewer, is please don't let a game be ruined for you by a lack of inclusion or something like that. Just enjoy the game for what it is. And if you're gonna judge a game for its lack of inclusion, please don't make it a main point in your review of the game, and don't take off points because of it. You know what? If you can promise you'll do that for me, I have a bag of Skittles right here. I know, once again, I have candy. You promise you're not gonna do it? Alright, here you go. Have some. But yeah, anyway, with all that being said, that's gonna do it for this video. I didn't expect to have such a long break between the last video and this one, but here we are. I'm hoping my schedule will get more consistent as there's more to talk about, and especially since I don't work anymore. I mean, yes, I have school, but I'm not working 8-hour shifts, so there you go. Upload schedule will hopefully be much more regular starting soon. So yeah, with all that being said, thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't like it, subscribe if you want to see more. Tune in every Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time for Salt streams, and I will catch you all next time.